So dear friends, I'm here almost in the middle or towards the end of October, and I'm happy that the other auxiliary bishops, Bishop Satish and Bishop Suzainathan, are also doing this part of what we call the shepherd's voice, that they are voicing also the voice or the feelings of the shepherds in our Archdiocese. The last 2 weeks were done by them, and as you know, I was abroad. I had gone to the States. I was invited in a place called Salt Lake City for a symposium on religion and peace. How religion can be a catalyst, an instrument for peacemaking. And I spoke and said that India is a land of religions, so many religions, but the religions need not be one against another, but always at the service of humanity and being instruments of peace and harmony. I'm very happy that I am back, and once again I'm doing this sort of intervention on behalf of the Archdiocese as the shepherd of the Archdiocese, as the voice of the shepherds. So this week, it's the 29th Sunday, and we have a beautiful and straightforward message. Perhaps at the core of the essence of the Gospel, wherein we heard the words of Jesus himself in the Gospel, that the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve. A very profound message. Religion is not an instrument to become popular, not an instrument of domineering or dominating, but it always inspires to be humble, as Jesus himself. The Gospel of Mark chapter 10 verse 35 to 45 speaks about these two disciples of Jesus, apostles, who perhaps were following Jesus, but they had other intentions. So in the end they make their mind clear. James and John, they are called sons of Zebedee. So they come to Jesus and say that, give us the place of sitting at your right and at your left, meaning to say closest to you in authority. And Jesus asked them some simple questions. Are you able to drink the chalice that I am going to drink? Are you ready to be baptized? And they say yes. But then Jesus makes them understand these things may be easier, may not be easy of course, but then you seem to say that it's easy. But to sit at my right or to my left is not left to me, but it's left to the Father in heaven. And that time Jesus says the beautiful words that whoever would be great among you shall be your servant, and who would like to be first shall be the slave or the servant of all. The Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve. And that is the essence of Jesus' service. Whatever great things that we think we are doing, whatever money that we are giving others, whatever service that we do to others, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's like God gives us a chance to serve others. And Jesus himself became humble. In fact, the second letter of the Hebrews says that he humiliated himself to such an extent that being a high priest, he was not tempted, and therefore he is able to sympathize with us. As we have heard very often, the letter St. Paul's letter to the Philippians chapter 2 verse 5 or so, it says that he emptied himself. He emptied himself to such an extent that we could not recognize him. So this is the essence of Christianity, service to humanity, but at the same time, we are not seeking anything for ourselves. And with this message, perhaps we can not only look forward to the week, but to look forward to every aspect of our life, every aspect of our service, every aspect of our relationship, that we are nothing and His God is great. You see, dear friends, you know the month of October is the month of missions. We call it the capital M as it was the missions. And we have the Mission Sunday celebration, the last Sunday of the month. Or perhaps there are some priests who would anticipate it, postpone it a little, because in our diocese, the Mission Sunday is something very special. And every Mission Sunday, the Holy Father gives a very special message. And this particular time, the Holy Father, giving a message for the Mission Sunday, tells us, or rather gives us that small quote which says many, many things about mission. And the quote is Matthew chapter 22, verse 9, which says, "Go and invite everyone to the banquet." Go and invite everyone to the banquet. And so the message is from that parable of the wedding feast, where the landlord or the master calls everybody. Rather, he calls certain people who are invited special to him. But then everyone has an excuse, everyone has got something to say and they don't want to come. And then he says, go to the highways and byways, invite everyone for the wedding feasts. So the Holy Father, taking this particular sentence of the Bible, explained to us the meaning of the Mission Sunday in 3 simple words. First is, go and invite. Go and invite. The mission of Jesus to go and invite everybody. And this invitation is not just a forced invitation, but a warm and welcome invitation. And this invitation can be of different types, especially modern times. Maybe a message, a proclamation that we make, maybe a visit that we make, a sick call that we make, or perhaps some handbill, or perhaps some book. And on the media, we can also extend the invitations to the others. Secondly, to the marriage feast. You know, the marriage is always a happy celebration in any community, any society. It's not a mourning. Everyone goes happily. It's not calling someone to do some work or to contribute something, or perhaps even to a funeral. A marriage is something that everyone looks forward to. It's the happiest occasion of our life. And so the mission or missionary work is also like the marriage feast, that you go happily. You know, most of the saints, they jumped with joy when they were assigned to go to the mission. St. Francis Xavier himself, you know, just within 2 days he has to make a decision because there was someone else to come to India. St. Ignatius has named somebody else, but then he fell sick and St. Francis got ready within 2 days, happily. So it's like going to a wedding feast. And thirdly, go and invite everyone. Jesus does not restrict. He allows us to invite everyone and anyone who is in difficulty, anyone who is experiencing perhaps tensions, or anyone who is falls short of something. God calls us and invite this invitation to everyone. And so, meditating on the words of go and invite everyone to the banquet, the Holy Father especially ends his circular or the encyclical with the special intercession to Mother Mary, who's the mother of the missions. You know, in our Archdiocese also, we celebrated a day, that's the 12th of October, in the church of Our Lady of Lourdes, Al-Sur. We celebrated this sort of a feast or celebration of Mary, Mother of the Missions. So let us ask Mother Mary to accompany us on our missionary journeys and intercede for all our missionaries. The Mission Sunday celebrations in our Archdiocese, you know, since from 15-20 years, the Mission Sunday celebration is like a feast in our Archdiocese. It's so nice. People are so positive. It's like celebrating a wedding, as it were. The parish priest plan along with the people, and everyone is involved. And perhaps it's also a sign and symbol of unity in our parishes that everyone gets together. There are some people try to make different stalls which are little competitive types so that they can gather more and more money for the missions. At the same time, some perhaps contribute to the envelopes, some others give in some other ways, and therefore the Mission Sunday celebration is a joyful occasion, and I'm very happy about it. First of all, it is a long-awaited event. People wait for it. I know some parish priests, months together, they start the preparations. Secondly, it's not just a day's celebration, as you know. From some years now, we have made it a month, a mission month, whole month from 1st to the 31st, with a special sort of input session or a special, perhaps a clip at every day at 7 o'clock. We see on the Archdiocesan YouTube that beautiful expression of the missions, the missionaries, the prayers, the adorations, and maybe the congregational work in different dioceses, different countries, different nations. That also is very beautiful. As regards the mission, the proclamation of the mission and the support for the missions in our diocese, we pray for the missions. Very especially we pray for the missionaries. We also appreciate the work of the missions, as I said, not only our archdiocesan missions, but also we try to project the missions of the religious who are very much active in different countries in very difficult situations. We also make strong collections for the mission, and these collections are sent to the CCBI center, who distribute this to send it to the Holy See and then distribute it to the mission places and mission countries. And in this way we also sacrifice for the missions. I know many people sacrifice their joys, the little comforts or little conveniences that are allowed to for the sake of missions. I know so many people, even sacrificing some of their special objects, people giving gold, people giving certain special objects that they sacrifice and say, let it be used for the mission. So this is how we sort of celebrate Mission Sunday in our Archdiocese. I now speak about mission possibilities in the peripheries of our Archdiocese. You know, our Archdiocese, Bangalore, of course, it's called Metropolitan Archdiocese, and the districts of Bangalore Central, Bangalore Rural, in some way can be called as city parishes, or perhaps there is some of development, but we have also mission districts. The district of Tumkur, the district of Ramnagar, the district of Chikballapur, the district of Kolar. These are mission, there are mission districts, and we make an appeal to the people also to sort of make whatever they can contribute, or perhaps what they can sponsor for these missions. I make a special appeal to the religious. You know, it's good that we start houses in the city, that we run institution in the city, the school and perhaps the other institutions, but the heart for the missions. And therefore I request especially the new congregations that are coming to the city, and also those that are in the city want to develop, I tell them, please go to the missions first, do some mission activity or mission institutions, and then come back to the city. And so this is how perhaps we make an awareness of the missions and this one. And we appreciate also that you know, in the city there are many conveniences. We know that in the villages, in the missions, there may not be that much of comfort, that much of convenience. There are no roads sometimes, there are no transport facilities. Sometimes even our mobiles don't work in these areas of our missions. But at the same time, the efforts, the difficulties of our missionaries are like the seed that is sown for the future. They are called pioneering efforts. As pioneers, they have to make the road themselves. There is no road for them. They have to open up certain occasions and certain institutions, and that's how reach out to the people. And I'm very happy that our diocese, because in the past 10-15 years, the recent missions that we have opened are slowly bearing fruit. The mission of Pavgada, the mission of Turuvikere, the mission of Amalgundi, the mission of Teresapura, the mission of Bet Mangala, the mission of Sananhalli, Joginpalya, a remote village, Gauri Bidnur, it's a whole taluka but with no presence of Christians, Bangarpet, and so many other places, and especially our Kolar district, where 7 or 8 mission stations are opened with the help of our MSFS fathers. So therefore, we need to appreciate, we need to support these missions in and around the Archdiocese. What can you do? Perhaps I would say the parish priests, there are some of the parish priests have designed ways or means of reaching out to the missions. There are some missionaries who come to the city and they are given a chance to preach and to explain what missions. At the same time, the parish priests along with these parish council members or perhaps certain other persons, maybe they can make a sort of a picnic to one of our missions. And when they go to the missions and missionary areas, they see for themselves how the same priest, perhaps he was an assistant in your parish or he was known to you somewhere else, but now how he's bringing up the mission. And so this mission tours or mission picnics, as you may call, are also helpful to give an explanation of our archdiocesan missions. When we speak of the missions, we have what we call a special saint that we remember these days, and his name is Saint John Paul II. He is a recent saint. He was canonized as saint in 2014, 27th April by Pope Francis, the present Pope. And this Pope perhaps was a missionary at heart. He was born in that time communist country of Poland, and not only the Poland country that time was under the communists, but a sort of a mission country that Christianity was suppressed, and he, being part of the European sort of history and culture, he had to also go for war. And those that did not go for war as soldiers, they had to do hard work in their own country. And so Pope John Paul worked as a laborer in the mines, in the hard mines. We had to break the rocks, as it were. But this difficult work that he did perhaps bore fruit. And when he became a pope, he was not only an ambassador to the whole church, but also ambassador to humanity. He is the one who spoke openly about human rights, about especially the morality of the people, the anti-abortion. He was an votary for freedom of conscience, freedom of religion, and he intermingled with so many other religious heads in order to speak about religion and peace. And he was also perhaps very fond of the children and youth. He started what's called the Youth Day, World Youth Day. Once in 4 years or so, this Youth Day is celebrated in different parts of the world, and the whole youth, millions of youth, perhaps flock to these areas in order to give expression to their joy and to become one with the church. And of course, he had also a lot of criticisms, a lot of enemies, and also perhaps an attempt was made to kill him in 1981, but he survived. So therefore, this Pope, who was elected as Pope at the very young age of 58-year-old, as almost a middle age only, because the Popes are little of the senior age. He was 58 and lived up to the 205, 2nd of April, he died. And therefore he is considered as one of what's called a great Pope. You know, in the history there are certain popes who are called great. For example, Gregory the Great, the Leo the 13th, who is called great. And so this great name is attached also to Pope John Paul II, who was a great missionary at heart and encouraged many of the missionaries himself. When he visited the mission countries, when he came to India, he was there for 11, 12 years. He was just one and appreciated all the mission works and the missionaries that were here. And so we pray for the intense intercession, very especially of St. John Paul II, whose feast we celebrate on 22nd of October. Finally, I come to the jewel of the church, and the jewel is also special because this jewel, the church, is named after St. John Paul II, a recent saint. Some who have seen, some who have perhaps even been close to him. And therefore St. John Paul II church we have in our Archdiocese, which is very rare. You know, this church was a dream of our Archbishop Emeritus Bernard Morris, and even before St. John Paul could be declared as a saint, he was a blessed. That time, already on 20th of August 2011, the Church of St. John Paul II at Channasandra was inaugurated. So therefore we consider the Channasandra Church as one of our jewels, a lasting, or rather coming from the memory of Pope John Paul II himself. And we were supported very much, as I am told those days, first of all to get a relic of St. John Paul II which is placed in this church, and also a beautiful statue of St. John Paul II which was gifted by the Apostolic Nuncio Salvatore Pennacchio. So he is the one who brought this, inaugurated, and I myself also came for the inauguration of the church on that day. And in Bangalore, we were so happy, so many other bishops were there, and we were also part of this big celebration of the inauguration of the church. And so what we can say about this church is, first of all, it's not only the church is not a building, but it's also an active community. I went recently for the communion of the confirmation of the children, and it was beautiful to see that how community gathers together around the parish priest and beautifully celebrates the different sacraments of the church. It's an upcoming parish, that means the people are shifting there, and so many people of our Archdiocese are becoming part of this parish. And the new church, as I said, which was inaugurated on 20th of August 2011, it was because of the tireless efforts of Father Alphonse Basker. You know, some of our parish priests have sacrificed a lot. They are the ones who are pillars of our churches, of our structures, of our institutions in our Archdiocese. And after that, many other priests also were there. And now the present parish priest, Father Sagaya Radhan, who is there from last 3-4 years, is also creating waves, as it were. He has already renovated the altar, and the sanctuary looks beautiful now, which was inaugurated on 12th of October this year, just a few days back. Besides, what is special about is the community itself, I said. First of all, they have small associations like the Vincent de Paul, like the Carol Youth Association, the Legion of Mary, and many other small associations. And these associations bind the people into different activities as such. Father Sagaya himself not only took charge of the church and the surroundings, has beautified it, he also repaired and renovated the church, and he has started this special devotions to the Sacred Heart and also Novena to St. John Paul II. So I think we can consider this as a recent, or rather upcoming jewel of our Archdiocese, St. John Paul II Church of Channasandra.
The Shepherd's Voice, which is being presented by our beloved Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, the Archbishop of Bangalore, who takes so much of interest and concern in order to bring the various topics, the contextual aspects, in order to inform, educate, and catechize all of us, the priests, the religious, and faithful of this vast Archdiocese. And I'm sure you are enjoying this program, Shepherd's Voice, and I request each one of you to share with your other colleagues, friends, and family and relatives, near and dear ones, so that everyone in this Archdiocese can be more closer to listen to the Archbishop on this Shepherd's Voice, the weekly feature. My dear friends, as I've always told, that this is a wonderful platform wherein we can connect to the Shepherd of this Archdiocese, wherein he brings in the interesting topics in order to increase our devotion and love towards God, and also to know the spiritual matters that concerns our faith. In a very special way, you are most welcome to ask your questions, queries, and you can send them to us at archdblr@gmail.com, and you will also see our mobile number in and through which you can connect with our media center, Ave Studios, and the Archdiocesan Communication Center. Please do write to us your feedback, your opinions. Thank you. Continue to watch and continue to share with others.